Kelly, I've always been fascinated when actors start out their careers, ways they make money. Now, TV commercials would seem like a good way for an actor to make a living. Is that something that you ever went after, auditioned for TV commercials?
No.
No? And why
No,
not?
I don't think so, because I was in school, too busy trying to learn how to act. I kind of pursued it from the educational standpoint that I knew I wanted to work in the theater, and I went to Juilliard and trained for 4 years. And then when I started off, I was waiting tables and doing little bit parts and things in New York.
Well, a question about stage work. It's funny how theater etiquette has changed. You go to a play now, and you hear cell phones going off, you hear people opening wrappers during a performance. Have you ever had to deal with audience interruptions?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was doing a play a couple of years ago, and a guy in the front row actually put his feet up on the stage as if lounging, and the actor I was on stage with walked over and kicked his feet, and I just started laughing. It was like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? And he came off stage and he was furious. He says, I cannot stand people who do not know how to behave in the theater. So yeah, I mean, we've all dealt with it, whoever's done a play. I mean, and you're right, theater etiquette is something that's on the way out. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that people stay at home and they can make as much noise as they want, or in the movie theaters it's so loud you don't have to be quiet, and you're actually encouraged to make noise, eating popcorn and, doing things. So yeah, it is something that's kind of dying or dead.
Now, I got a question about the feedback that you get from various roles, men as opposed to women. Like movies like Top Gun and A Witness, do you notice a difference in the way that men and women would react to you after those movies came out?
Well, they're both very different. I can't even think about a gender, being gender specific on that, because both the films and or the characters are very, very different. I mean, obviously, I don't know. I don't know if I could compare it. I mean, certainly, I had much more visibility. And people actually, after Top Gun, could actually recognize who I was, as opposed to Rachel, because I didn't run around in a little prayer cap all the time. Nobody knew who I was. But no, I couldn't think about, well, maybe in Top Gun, a lot of guys went, oh, wow, what a babe. And all the girls went, ooh, Nito, you got to kiss Tom Cruise. I mean, that would be one way I could think of, but not really. No, that would be about the only way.
Well, turning to this movie, it's funny, you're very, very protective of your brother. I'm just curious, when you went into show business, how protective was your family of you when you decided to go that career path?
My family discouraged me to all get out. It took them quite until about my 3rd year at Juilliard to really decide, oh, well, maybe she's serious about this acting stuff. Yeah, I got a lot of discouraging letters about, when are you going to grow up and decide what you want to do? You're just wasting your time. My parents weren't very encouraging and or protective.
My parents don't really understand what I did until I showed them a picture of me and Mary Tyler Moore in an interview, and that impressed them. What was your family's first inkling that you had some star power, some star perks?
Oh, I think probably when I got my first feature film and I was still in school. I think they probably went, oh, well, maybe she can work in this business after all. I think they're probably afraid on some level that I would be a waitress the rest of my life. But I was perfectly happy being a waitress the rest of my life, and I would act sometimes, But obviously for a parent, you think, oh, gosh, I want so much more for my kid, and what kind of future is there in waiting tables? And, I mean, but, hey, I know a lot of professional waiters and waitresses. They do fine.
Well, you're in the restaurant business now.
Yeah, I've graduated.
well, part of the time. I remember when I was in high school, I worked in a restaurant, and I never learned more about life than I did in a restaurant. Now, taking some time off and working in a different business, raising a family, how fulfilling for you to do all that?
Well, first off, I didn't take time off. I always acted. I've never stopped acting. I just didn't do big feature films, which is... I look at myself as an actor, and I'm not going to limit myself to just doing one thing. I stopped doing a medium that took me away from my family for long periods of time, and one that I had a difficulty concentrating on when kids were around because of the schedule and the hours and, you know, things flipping and going and this and that. So I never really left, but certainly I think that that for me it's fulfilling, because what I basically, why I probably like acting so much is because I want to make people happy. You know, on whatever level that is, even if it's the most ugly, dark thing you could imagine, on some levels for them to go, oh, that was really a great job. She was really evil. Do you know what I mean? That's to make somebody happy. And part of the reason why I like the restaurant is I get to make people happy. I guess by nature I want to please people.